So welcome to the video where we are learning how to validate a JWT token. So before we start with the topic, I would expect you to have some hands-on on how to create a login API that is generating a JWT token for you and some basic understanding of what JWT is. If you still are not aware of these two facts, then click on the eye icon on the top where I have already created a video on understanding the basic concept of JWT and how to create a login API. So before further ado, let's start by understanding how you can validate a JWT token on your server. Before we move forward, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also press the bell icon so that you don't miss on any new notifications of any new videos or tutorials that we put forward. Now in this part, we'll be understanding how we can validate the token that has been sent from the client side to our server. Now to validate a token, we have basic 4 steps where first is create a middleware, then get the token from the header, validate the token using the middleware, and then if you have some custom logic to validate the token, then go ahead and execute that topic. Now to create a middleware, so this middleware should contain the logic to validate the token. Now I have created a middleware for us, and if you see, I have a middleware that is created over here which is validate token. So this middleware, it returns a GIN handler function, and this function is taking in the context of your request, and through context I would try to get the header. So for us, I would be expecting the token in API key. Normally it would be authorization header with a bearer keyword in the just before the token, so you will apply that logic to separate out those things. So I've kept it plain and clean for us as of now. So we'll try to get the token from the header. Then because we wanted to verify the referrer as well, so I have tried to get the referrer from the header, but will not surely do it because through Postman the referrer would be different than what we encoded in the token. Then we in the token where we had in the token package, we had the generate token function. There I have the verify token. So this verify token method would be called. This would verify the token, and if it says valid, then everything is okay, and if it is not valid, I'll return unauthorized access. So for unauthorized, I'll just say that requested unauthorized and you are not authorized to access this path, and a generic error message. If in case it is valid, then probably what I'll do is I'll try to get the claims. So from the verify token, if the token is valid, I'll also decrypt the payload and generate the claims model out of it and send back to our calling function, that is the middleware. And then from that probably we'll get all the values and send in the API context parameter, so that all the endpoints or the handler functions can get this value and they don't have to again go ahead and decrypt the token. So decrypting the token remains at one place, and you can definitely leverage this functionality in GIN and hide that in implication of decrypting the token from any other handlers. Yeah, so this is a middleware that we have created. Now the second step is to get the token, which we have already done in the middleware. Now to validate the token, so to validate the token, we'll use the validation mechanism from the JWT package. Now let's go to the token.validate token function. So the validate token function calls a function from our a private function from internal package only, and this is actually calling a function from the package that we have installed or we have just downloaded, that is JWT package. So it is calling a function that is named by parse with claims, and this would expect the token string, a claims model. So this is a blank claims model that we would pass in, so it would be a pointer to the claims model, and this method would eventually decrypt the claims for us and set that in this model for us. And then there is a callback function which is intended just to return the bytes array of your private key that you had used to generate the token. So if you remember, we used the private key to generate the token. So the same keys byte array we have to convert and send. And we also normally do the validate what is the token algorithm that is being returned from the client side. So the token that we have, so whenever this is a callback function, this would decrypt this token string and generate a token model, internal model, and there we will validate if that is the same algorithm that we use to create the token. And if it is okay, then go ahead and return the token key. If it is not the same, then definitely there is something wrong with the token, and we'll send in the error mentioning that unexpected sign-in method. Yeah, so this is the token method that we'll be using to pass the claim and validate the token. So once this is returning as the token, and we have got the claims over here, so if the token is valid, then we'll go ahead and check with the claims valid method. Now this claims valid is the same method that we created when we were creating our JWT claims model. So this is like, it would verify the expiry, it would verify the issuer and those things. So this is what we want to also check. So over here normally I would also verify other things like the referrer and those things at this particular place from the origin. So right now I have skipped that part because from Postman request it would not work, but I have a method in the claims verify audience, which I would have called over here mentioning claims.verify audience, and where I would just pass in origin of the current request and it would verify the audience. But this is out of context right now. We'll remove it. If the claims is also valid, the token is also valid. Now this token valid is basically, it is validating the expiry and signature part mainly. So yeah, so if these two are valid, then we'll reply with true, that token is verified, and we'll also send in the claims. Otherwise the claims is a null object and we supply false. So this is what we do in the verify token method. Now let's move to the the last step of how to validate a token, that is adding a custom logic, which we just discussed in the token class, which I told you that we'll probably plan if in case you have a separate logic to verify your token, like verify audience. So this is how you validate a token. Now let's go to our API, and what we'll do is I'll create another endpoint which is API/products, and this API/products would first apply this middleware and then probably call our handler function, that is getAll. So this getAll is from the product handler that I have. So this getAll would be returning a constant set of products for us. And for simplicity, what we can do is let's go to token generation and the login handler. So over here I'll first try to generate the token only for 10 seconds. So the token would be valid for just 10 seconds, or let's say just 2 seconds, just to see if our validation works fine. Let's run this API and check. So our API login and product API are running. Let's go to the Postman. Let's hit the login API. I've got the token. I'll copy the token from here. I've created the product API. I'll pass in the product API, and if I see, I got unauthorized. So this is how I got unauthorized. Now if I would have just increased the time to, let's say, hours, let's say 2 hours. So my token would be valid. So I just increased the time because 2 seconds was something very small and it took us to copy. So the APIs are again running. Let me generate a new token. Copy this token from here, paste it in the API key. Oh, that works now because the token is valid for 2 hours. I am able to access the endpoints. So now, right now, we have not validated the roles, but yes, the token has been validated for your expiry in case you have some custom logics. So your token validation works. So uh, for the next steps, we'll probably learn how we can apply a role-based authorization on our API and then probably plan to create some middleware or group our multiple APIs and apply a different set of authorization on it. Now let's understand how we can apply a role-based authorization on our API. Now to do this, we have 4 different steps again. So the first step is create a middleware that takes in the allowed roles and verifies the set of roles with the token. Uh, get the roles from the user token and then apply the validation of roles. So we would probably check if the roles that user has are does contain all the roles that are passed into the middleware. And then if the user is not valid, then we'll probably send an unauthorized exception on the client side. So let's try and create an middleware. So in middlewares again, so right now I have created one middleware for us, and that's like authorization middleware, which takes in a list of valid rows and would return a handler function, gin handler function. This is the function which receives, this is the actual function which gin would execute as a callback, and this would take in the context from the gin. Now over here, if the keys are not there, so if you remember in the last validate token, we have created keys for us. So these keys, so if we don't have these keys generated, definitely we have not passed the validate token. So normally we would chain these middlewares, and the first middleware that we will always execute is validate token. So until the token is valid, you don't want to do a validation on role definitely. So if the keys is not present, I'll send in unauthorized access. This is a safety check, but not needed definitely because this would take care of that part. Then I'll take out the roles from the keys. So if you see, I have set the roles in the map. So I'll take out the roles, and probably if the roles is null, that means I've not got the roles set, I'll send unauthorized access again, because if the user does not have any roles, so I would not want that user to be in. Then probably I'll apply the method to just map that if all the roles that the user has are present in the valid. So if this valid has 2 roles and user has only 1 role that is not matching, then definitely will send in unauthorized to that. So this is a middleware that we have created. Now second thing that we would be doing is getting the roles that we have already done in our middleware. Now we have validated the middleware. Now let's do one more thing that will call the product API. So if you see the product API that we created, I chained one more middleware into it, which is the authorization middleware. And this I have supplied ID as one. So the user should have role 1. So if user does not have role 1, he is unauthorized and will not call the handler method. So I'll just stop this already running server, run this again, and if I see this product API again, now because the user did contain the role 1, because you remember in the login handler we deliberately passed role as 1, 2 and 3, so definitely role 1 is there. So what we can do is let's test it with role 4. So I'm saying that this API is only accessible to people having the role 4. So, and we definitely know, because we have hard coded the roles, that user that we have generated token for does not have role 4. So let's hit the API, and now if you see, I've got a status 401 that is unauthorized, and the expected generic model of error that I have generated, which also again says unauthorized error. So this is how you can create role-based authentication or authorization specifically. Now let's go ahead and create a grouped API, which was the last part of this tutorial, and we'll group those APIs into one. So what I've done is I have written those APIs for us, and let's copy and paste that. So what I have done is I have created a group called API, which is pointing to endpoint starting with API. Now this API uses the middleware validate token. So all APIs that are inside this group would be using this middleware definitely. And then with this API, I have again created another group that is product. Okay, and this product normally would use the one middleware. So this product API is any API inside product would have to pass the check of role as one. So any user that accesses any endpoint inside this group should have role one. Now this is the get API. Now I have not added any chained middleware here because already we have got the two middlewares. Now then again I have a post API where I have a specific requirement. I would say that the user should have role 3. So now this makes that the post API is accessible to someone who has role 1 and also role 3. So if the user does not have both the roles, he would not get access to post API. Let's start the already running server and run the server again. So, oh, okay, sorry, the file was not saved. So if you see, I've got three APIs running: post login API, get product, and then post product. Now, if I go to my middleware, and if you remember, this user that we have created token for has role 1, 2, and 3. So definitely the get and post both should work ideally. So if I try to hit the get, so get is successful. If I try to hit the post method, so that is giving me an error of unauthorized, and I'm pretty sure that should not happen. Let me check the login middleware. It contains ID3. Okay, I have made a mistake. I've not added the token. New API key. Let me go to header, add this key, and let's see. So now I have got the successful response from the post API. Definitely I have not done anything there. It's just it would return the same model again to us. Now let's try to see if I do this as role 4. So that means that the user should have role 1 and role 4 both. And role 4 we know that is not there for this user. Now if I see, I get unauthorized, but at the same time the get API would work successfully, because get API would only expect the role as 1 to be present. So this is how you can do a role-based authentication and authorization in probably group multiple APIs. And if you someday you have, let's say, users API, you can definitely go ahead and create a group. Let's say user is equal to API dot group, and give the endpoint as user, and go ahead and create some endpoints. Let's say get, and this is a blank path, And I have not created a handler function, so I'll create the one for you over here, and this would just return c dot abort with status, where JSON status. Now this function expects the HTTP code, let's say 200 I would send in as status code, and then the model. So chin.h is a generic model sort of map, and we'll say status as okay. Okay, so this is another group that you have created. So there is one group that you've created from the API, which is actually using the validate token. Then again from the same API, not from the product. If you use it from the product, the API would be the API input endpoint would be API slash product slash users. So it would be like that. So probably you don't want that because I'm creating another group from the base API. So let me run this for you, and yes, so over here it would not validate because in this user I have not applied the role-based authentication middleware, so it would just validate the token for us. And if you see the user API is there, we'll just duplicate the tab, and this is user API, this is get API, and it would just say status okay. And if in case, let's say in the header I do some mischief with the token, and let's say I change this E to, let's say, T, and then try to access it, is giving me an unauthorized. Or let's say what we'll do is we'll probably change the payload. Yeah, so for that payload, let's open the browser, go to base64 decode and encoding. So, and what I'll do is I'll just copy in this base64 string, decode this, copy this back, and probably just change the company or a username as, let's say, 1, and then again go ahead and yes, so I've changed the username to exception handler 1, and I've encoded this, and let's copy this and paste it in our get API to just have a look at it. And probably what I'll do is I'll just copy this in the get API, paste this, copy this payload in between, and replace the payload. Now I have done a mischief only with the payload, not with the signature. So it is not validating the signature. Even if my existing token is actually valid for some time. So if you see, so this is still valid. So if you do some changes in the token, then also it gets unauthorized, because we have discussed that the signature part of the token is basically encryption of your header and payload put together with a private key. So whenever it is validated back, again this part would be put together, encrypted with the same private key and the algorithm. And if this does not match, it would not be valid. So with this, we have already covered how to validate a JWT token, role-based authorization, and how to create some middleware and group your APIs in Go together. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching the video. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also press the bell icon so that you don't miss on any further videos or any new series that we put across for you guys. Also, we would like to hear from you in the comment section of any new video series or any changes that you want us to do in the way we put the videos across, or any special topics that you guys wish us to put for you.